Alrighty traders, George here. Time for a look at the week in review. Got a couple of trade scenarios to go through, so let's jump right into it. So from the Balance Beam subscriber series, this is from the video that went out Tuesday. The setup for the Nasdaq was we were parked at the very low 4800s here, needing to move up a bit to get long into this target array or to break down below this balance beam to get short into this array here. And then for gold we had this. Gold a little bit more pressured here below this very key balance beam, but same scenario, move up a little bit higher to get long and break down a bit more here to get short. So here's what happened with those trade setups. And keep in mind, gang, this is on a single contract performance strategy here. So for those of you doing multi-contract, you can take note of where targets are hit. Obviously we had some hit in the Nasdaq, but I'm showing the single contract approach here so that those of you with smaller accounts can see how you can use a small risk control and a big target profile to grow your accounts with not that many trades. That being said, the Nasdaq chopped up here into the middle part of the week, trying to break lower, trying to break higher, and just not getting it done until it finally resolved much higher here. But all in all, initially, based on the trade calls and the restrictions that we had, we looked at 2 for 6 here for minus 12.75 points. That's minus 255 per contract there. Obviously target 2 well hit and almost got to target 3 here for you multi-contract traders. But this is just a case of a very strong balance beam holding on to price, trying to break out. And that's what the risk control is all about, to make sure that we're not holding it filling to the other side. So it actually served us pretty well through the chop there. Then into the trades for gold. Gold also had a little bit of difficulty getting out of the gate here. It ultimately put up 4 trades, 2 for 4, 2 of them being winners, and a net of $5.60, so $560 per contract there, and target 2 and target 3 were hit, multi-contract folks. But very choppy trying to get out of the gate, even to the downside here, racing back up, and the initial breaks here not that strong and getting stopped for some small losses. So the way that shapes up on our balance beam spreadsheet, gang, is this. We've got these trades here that we just went through. So we're 4 for 10, 40% win rate, pretty low, but we still ended up in the green here with $310. This is a relatively shy week for us here, but with the chop and the number of losers here, which is not the best profile, we still ended up in the green. And that's really because the targets that were hit, really the one from gold, was large enough to scrub the losers, and the losers were relatively small. Same message ongoing. Small stops, big targets. Keep throwing that at the market. We're the constant, the market's the variable, and this is getting through another week here in the green. So what we did last week was a 50% win rate with 2 for 2 here, and that put up 870. You know, the week prior we only had 2 trades, another 50% win rate, but we had a huge target for oil that put up 1,000. Actually the same amount we did the week prior here at 1,080. Again, that put up more trades with a more subdued win rate. But all in all, the same approach is ongoing here, which is looking for setups on the balance beam, small stops, big targets, and with a single contract per market performance here, we actually just hit a new equity high on the year, just over $62,000 here, and that's for 2016 with a single contract approach for all these trades. If you want to subscribe to get these signals before these trades happen, use the link at the bottom of the video. If you actually want to use the balance beam chart and use the same techniques that we use here for our balance beam signals, learn how to do that, well, you can do that at the link as well. We've got training next Tuesday, so make sure you guys have a fantastic weekend. That's why we are balance beam traders. It provides us a great lifestyle, and we're going to get back together on Tuesday to go through more training so that we can make sure that happens for everybody involved. All right, gang, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week.